In this episode, I'm going to be plumbing in fixtures to this 3,000 gallon water tank I have next to my well for an off-grid system. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. A couple years ago, I purchased this 3,000 gallon water tank. It cost approximately $999.99 from my local resource. Now, the products I'm going to be using today to plumb this feature in for an off-grid system, we'll go through the parts list and the tools I'm going to be using. But one of the main reasons I want this off-grid system going is because we're anticipating power outages this summer, as we've been warned by our power company. Yeah, we're still on grid, but I'm working towards going off-grid. We have solar panels, we have a standby generator, we have another generator which I'll be installing here and retrofitting it to run on propane, because propane can be stored indefinitely, whereas it runs on gas right now, but I'm buying the other feature. That will be another video for retrofitting that off-grid application right here to run the well in the event that we don't have power. I do have a standby generator, and that is capable of running the well also from the service box down at the house. So that's a whole nother video also. So why is the power anticipated on going down this summer? Well, in years past, as we've seen in 2 summers ago, a summer of hellfire, both in California, Washington, and Oregon. Just in my community alone here regionally, we lost several communities and homes to wildfires. This is when high winds started whipping up. They started swagging power lines. They arced out. The sparks went down to the grass and set fire to everything. And the winds pushed the flames and just engulfed the whole region. So the power company has planned shutdown of power so that doesn't happen. They'll be watching the weather, seeing if there's high winds and the low humidity level and all the science behind fire science. So they'll shut our power down. Everybody would be without power to mitigate loss from fire because of their power lines. So that's what's going to happen. That's why we're getting ready. In the event power goes out, we lose ability to have water. I can tie this into my house and we can gravity feed water down to the house for a couple of weeks with this. And that's why I had the generator. I can start the generator up and recharge this tank remotely and then turn it off. This will not be potable water. So we will be storing drinking water, but this will be flushing the toilets, taking the shower, washing dishes, and God forbid, help fight a fire. As you can see behind me, I do live in the wilderness. We're susceptible to many wildfires per year. We average 3 wildfires. That's just an average. 3 wildfires every single year for the last 30 years I've lived up here, all within a 10-mile radius of the homestead. And yes, we've had to evacuate several times from the home. But thanks to Marty Rainey and his family and the Discovery Channel's Homestead Rescue, they came to my homestead. They gave us a metal roof on the house, which protects us from flaming embers from nearby forest fires. And they also helped me clean up the terrain and the environment, limb up the trees, to get rid of a bunch of fire material that could explode. And I have been busy since I purchased the farm, cleaning it up myself, getting rid of all the underbrush, limbing up trees, cutting down dead trees, which I just did the other day. And then we're going to be milling some, but the rest of it we're stacking for firewood away from the house, and I've got plenty of fire barriers around all my outbuildings. So my place has been inspected by the fire marshal, the local fire battalion chief, and different fire crews have been out here assessing and evaluating my farm. They said they would be happy and safe to even stage on my farm, and my neighbors should be happy because my farm would be a buffer from wildfires, especially from the land next door. That is wild land, untouched, and it's overgrown. So now let's get this thing plumbed. First of all, I'm going to use, I purchased this 1-inch diameter, 10-foot length of pipe. I will only be using 6 feet of it for this application. And then the rest of it, I'll just stock in my resource pile. The table of goodies I have here is a double-ended hose, female hose. And this is a hose used for a washing machine. I've got a pipe wrench for the big fixture fittings. I've got a pipe cutter. I've got these little fittings that are quick disconnect, quick connect, especially when you're in a hurry and trying to fight a fire. You don't want to mess around with screwing things on. You just want to push and go. And then I have some silicone tape, or this vinyl tape for the threaded features. I've got this faucet that's going to be attached to the tank. This will attach to the bulkhead of the tank, and the faucet will screw into here. This will attach to the bulkhead up above on the fill point of it. These two will go together with the faucet at the bottom and attaching to the bulkhead at the bottom of the tank. This 3/4 inch short pipe length will be cut in varying lengths to join my float valve inside the tank. I'm using this string, so when I get up on the ladder and start working on the top of the tank, this string is to tie off to any tools I'll be using up there, and also the pre-formed piece I'm going to be fabricating and putting up there, because I don't want to climb in that tank and fish anything out. So I also have some pipe cleaner, primer, and glue. So let's work on the bottom output of the bulkhead first, because that's going to be the easiest. Take my threaded piping tape and wrap it around my threads so it prevents leakage and it gives a nice good seal, because you don't want this tank sitting idle and dripping empty, and when you need it to fight a fire, it's empty because it leaked out. We're going to solve all leaks before we get to the business of it. And we'll just screw that in there. And I'll tighten it all down once we get it on the bulkhead. And we do the faucet, or the hose bib is what this is actually called. Now that's complete. Let's go attach it to the bulkhead. It appears it does have some water in here, so we're going to take it off, drain the water out. This tank was empty when we had it delivered. Now I put that thread tape on here, so we're just going to go ahead and place this on. Now, if you think it's unusual that I turned it to the side, there's a reason for it, because this is the only faucet I could find at my local resource, and it angled down too much. I wanted one that came straight out, but I couldn't. So I'm going to angle it to the side, and I can still access the valve. Because my anti-freeze hose bib is right here, and it has an adapter on it which is an anti-siphon, so it prevents water from backflowing into the well. So I can remove that, shut off the internal valve, and it's got a check valve in there, so it prevents water from flowing back into the well itself, but flows down line into the house if I have to. So I can do quick. I'm going to add a quick disconnect here for this apparatus, and then have my hose that'll quickly refer to that. But also I have another hose I can hook from here to fill the tank. This is the wellhead. This is a union. And then there's a check valve in here that's wrapped up in this foam to keep it from freezing. And there's my main shutoff for the house line. Okay, I got two 1.5 inch outside to 1 inch inside thread to attach to both sides of the bulkhead up there. So let's go get these threaded in. Okay, here's where I tie the string to the wrench in case I drop it in. All right, let's tighten this booger up. Now I want to thread this 1 inch elbow on with threads on one end, and just pipe fitting on the other side. I've got a reducer to reduce it down to 3/4 inch for the pipe. Okay, we got that. Now it's ready to glue in once I get this other piece built. So here's my reducer, here's my pipe, here's my audience. Okay, I've got a 1 inch to 3/4 inch reducer for my pipe, 3/4 inch pipe. So I've got my cleaner, primer, and glue. So let's clean the inside of this. We'll put this on the float valve. We'll clean the inside of this. I'll cut out about a 4 inch We'll clean both ends of this. Trim off another 4 inch. Clean off that. Take this elbow, 3/4 inch elbow, clean it out. Now I'm ready to primer all these pieces. The reducer, the coupling for the float, inside both of this elbow, and both ends of this pipe. And now I'm ready for glue. Push it in and give it a twist to help seat it. Glue my elbow, one end of it for now, and this piece. The same way, push that in and give it a twist, and I want it to go up like that. glue that piece and this piece. And seat that in there, give it a twist. The reducer, glue the inside of that, and a 3/4 inch pipe, and seat that. And we let it dry. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and go back up the ladder and prep the inside of the valve. And now I need to prep the outside of this reducer. We clean it, let it dry, and then we primer it. Now I'm just going to take this with the glue up, and we're going to go glue it in place. I lost my string. I want to tie string to this. There. Glue the inside of my elbow and glue the outside of my reducer. And I'm going to put it in this way right here. So when the water level comes up, it'll float that valve and it'll shut the water off so it won't continue flowing. Twist it on, give it a twist, a seat, and the water level will be right to here. And now I got to put the pipe on here. Actually, I can work from the ground from the rest of this. So I'll just set this aside, put my wrench away, and 86 the ladder. That is a robust ladder. I got that free from an estate cleanup. Okay. Take this 1-inch pipe and see how much I will be comfortable using. About 6 feet. Again, clean. We're just going to do it one end at a time. Clean this. And clean the other end. And this is the piece on which my coupler is going to be fixed to. So I'm going to clean the inside of this. Now I want to primer my pieces. And now I need to clean, prime, and get ready to get this thing prepared. Now if that's dry, we'll go ahead and prime it. And now I assemble this. Apply glue to the inside of my thread, and this is the same thread that fits the hose. And then be liberal with your glue. Again, twist that on because it seats it. And now I'm ready for the final attachment. Go ahead and put my glue on here. My glue in there. Get that in there and seat it. Okay. I'm going to attach the quick connects to both of these. We're getting close to the end of the project. Now I just have to attach these two quick connects to each end of this hose. And now this is ready to apply. So I can pop that on. Now for this, I'm going to put this splitter on that can run the garden hose up here and also this. So we're going to go ahead and slide this on. Perfect. Make sure they're turned off. Put the adapters on. The quick connect adapters. Hook the hose bib up, or hook the hose up that goes to the wildlife or the livestock, and this one has the anti siphon valve attachment to it. Now I can put this on, and if we're out of water and the power's off, I can open this valve and drain the water through the system and water my livestock. But I'm going to turn this on, disconnect this here and connect it here, and turn it on. And now we got water flowing into the tank, and we're going to fill that tank up. So I'm going to let this run for about 5 hours, and then I'm going to turn the well off and let the well rest. My well is 40 gallons a minute without fail. But I have to tell you, this gives myself, my lovely wife, and my mother-in-law peace of mind, because now when the grid goes down, we're without power. We have water, and if the wildfire sweeps through here, which knocks out the power, which was the problem up the road when we had those massive wildfires that burnt those communities, the power was out. There was no water pressure. They had nothing to fight the fire with. They just had to let it burn. They had no choice. This gives us something for peace of mind and to help fight and mitigate fire. So let me know in the comments what you think about my jerry-rig alternative to hooking this thing up. This does not require any permits because it's not connected to the plumbing in a permanent manner. It's just like hooking a garden hose up. That's all it is. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I want to thank you guys for showing up and sharing this adventure with me on a going off-grid water source and water resource. I got the other videos I'm planning. I've got to order the retrofit for the generator to run off of propane, so stay tuned and look for that video coming up. Once you leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, click that share button. Sharing my videos on your social media platforms is helping us out great. I want to thank you guys for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. Also, click that subscribe button. Yeah, there's more videos coming. Be safe, always be kind. We'll see you guys in the next adventure. Bye-bye now.